Hey Michelle, how are you? Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Marcelo. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming and having a chat with us. I'm super excited about this topic today. And
Perfect. Happy to
before,
be here.
awesome. But before we start, I want you to introduce yourself, a little bit about you, your background, and just kind of how we met, how we crossed paths.
Okay, cool. Well, hello, everybody. I'm Michelle Ochoa. I'm currently the Director of Renewals at Postman. I've been in the software industry for 20 years, for over 20 years. And I met Marcelo when our paths crossed when we were at Splunk. So I started at Splunk in June of 2012, right after IPO. I just missed it. So I originally started my whole work. Most of my work history has been renewals, but when I first went to Splunk, I started off in professional services as the operations manager for a little bit. Then I moved back to renewals when the renewals team exploded because Splunk was exploding. So yeah, with Marcelo, our paths crossed when you came on board with LATAM, and as you grew that
Yeah.
team, and then my team was handling, Latin America was part of our territory, and I think I officially met you when I was in the Plano office visiting my team there. But
Hmm.
where we really got to know each other was at Sorrento at President's Club. Do you remember the day we were at the Pompeii excursion and we were on the way back and Maddie called me from the other bus and said, "Get off the bus, grab everybody, get off the bus." And he led us down like this alleyways and we went to that restaurant that
Oh
had the lemon
yeah,
orchard and all that ravioli, their lemon raviolas and the
Uh,
homemade limoncello.
I
It was
remember
so
that.
good. Wasn't that? We all had so much fun. Then we went back the next night and shut down the restaurant because everybody followed us.
Yes, I remember
Every,
both nights. Yes, I
yeah.
have pictures. That was
Yes, yes.
fantastic.
Yeah, that was the best. So that was
Awesome.
such a great president's trip.
That was a great story, Michelle.
Yeah.
So when you started as a leader, uh, can you tell me a little bit about how did you start, and then how did you build the team, and how was your relationship in terms of working with sales?
Yep. So in my previous roles before Splunk, I started off as a renewal rep, worked my way up into leadership, and really growing the team across all verticals, all theaters, like everything. We covered it all. So it really grew. When I left Splunk, 40 something renewal reps across all globally. So, and it was key. The key thing to renewals, is to really, it's a team sport. AEs,
Hmm.
we need to work with AEs, the CSMs, professional services, like all the different groups, everything you have in your ecosystem. We touch base with at one point or another, but really it's important to align with the AEs so we understand what the overall customer plan is, like what's the goal to expand the footprint of your
Hmm.
product at whatever company you work at. And renewals comes into play. So sales, the AA sells a deal and we rely on professional services to get implemented. We rely on customer success to focus on adoption. And we
Hmm.
don't really come into play to like 4 months before it comes up for renewal. And that's where we want to do the handoff between customer success and renewals, and also touch base with the AE, like what is the plan? Is there a plan for expansion? Is there a plan for upgrade? And then we have to work together to make sure we close that on time, because I know the renewal is an impending event, but if the new sales deal can't close before the subscription expires, we have to be
Hmm.
able to separate the two and make sure that we close the renewal on time, because the renewal's job is to maintain the existing recurring ARR. Like that's our job. Like we have to. And so sometimes we have to play
Hmm.
bad cop and separate the renewal from the license deal.
Okay. So the way I see renewals, though, it's kind of like a wheel, right?
It is.
We have the sales rep, the professional service team, and somebody, some moment, they're driving the car and handing over for the next
Mm-hmm.
stage. The relationship between AE and the renewals team, it's very important.
Very important.
Can you tell me what are the good practices that you've seen from the side of it that makes the renewals jobs easier and vice versa?
The most successful AEs include their renewal reps on the forecast calls, on the team calls, on customer calls, like really like at any point, constant communication, like look at each quarter comes up, look at what's coming up for renewal in that quarter and figure out who's going to take the lead on the renewal. Is the AE going to take the lead because they're driving an expansion or upgrade? If not, if there's no new license deal, like hand it over to the renewal rep and really work together as a team to make sure we bring the deals in. Those are the most successful AEs.
So the successful AEs, they know how to work with as a team. They can put together the ecosystem. They bring your team earlier and often.
Yes.
Forecasts and customer meetings. There's a great collaboration there.
It is. There's a collaboration is so important. And from renewals, I mean, because it's a relationship business, we tend to build relationships with like obviously the procurement side to handle all the commercials, but also the end users. So that's why the sooner we get it introduced, the easier it is. And then also it takes away some of the sting when it comes to when the customer is trying to renegotiate any type of terms at the time of renewal, because we really focus on like anything like legal docs, MSAs, everything. That's all like negotiated at the time of the license deal. So it makes takes away the rub or the burn when it comes to the renewal. We're like, no, we're not going to renegotiate MSA. Talk to your AE and do that the next time you're doing a license deal. So because our job is to help you maintain what you currently have, get your subscription renewed on time so we can move on.
Yes, so the collaboration, the communication, having the system, introducing the system to the day-to-day is very important. What are let's talk about the not so good things, right? What are the little things that tick you off, Michelle, that you see that are bad practices?
Nothing ticks me off, but bad practices are when the AEs try to discount the renewal. Don't discount the existing ARR. Like companies expecting the existing ARR to come in at that dollar amount. So that's a bad practice when they try to discount that. Another bad practice is I know the renewal is the impending event, but when they try to delay, like because their license deal is going to get delayed, they try to delay the renewal. And that scrambles all the internal teams because obviously, depending on what company you work at, certain levers have to be put in place to make sure the customers stay on. And so that also delays the on-time renewal for the company, which affects the revenue that's forecasted and reported. So those are the two main things.
Let's talk about that. Can you tell me more when the deals gets delayed and the discounts getting generated from the renewals? Let's talk about what's impact for the company. Can you elaborate a little bit more? So maybe a out there, they don't understand those impacts.
When you look at your customer base and you see when the subscriptions are expiring, and yes, like we've mentioned before in the conversation, it's an impending event. But whatever quarter that business is doing, that is when the company is expecting that revenue to be obtained, so we can start, reporting it and amortizing it out for finance. So it can be late. So this is my personal opinion. My personal definition of on-time renewal is it comes on within the quarter it's due. It could be late, like a couple of days. It could be, if it's in month 2 of the quarter, it could come in month 3, but it can't cross quarter lines because that affects what your renewal team is forecasting up to leadership. That is affecting what leadership is telling finance when they're expecting those dollars. Because again, it's recurring ARR, so the company's expecting it. So when you delay it and you cross quarter lines, you're messing it up for all the other teams. And across fiscal year lines is really bad.
So the importance to understand the impact of a renewal, not only for the customer but for internal, it's very crucial. Making sure you engage early and often the renew team, as a support to either other areas. If you need a support on the legal side, if you need a support, to do anything to move that opportunity forward,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the renewal teams can be an asset.
Yeah.
Uh,
I often get brought in on the larger deals, like when it's
mm,
like the larger global deals, when we're setting up deal structure, because
mm,
renewals is on the receiving end of data, and, the information. So, across my career in different companies, I've been brought in to help create the deal structure. Like I weigh in and give an opinion on, so because I can see what the outcome is going to be, to make sure, because we want to do what's right. Because I know
mm,
sales AE, their job is to, they make money off really selling new license deals, but we also have to look at the long-term effect, like the long game. Like what is the plan for the customer? Making sure we set up the deal so we have future success, we can expand the footprint. So you really
yeah,
got to make sure, don't
it's
just sell to your comp plan.
especially nowadays that everybody's moving on to the cloud. They're moving to subscription, and then now they're moving to consumption base.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty soon, in a lot of companies out there, they're starting reporting, user cases, right?
Yep.
What's the impact of the user case? So renewals, I was going to be there. It's not a point from A to Z. I see that as a circle, which is everybody's driving a car
Yeah.
together, right?
Yeah.
But it has
Yeah.
certain stops that we have to make.
Yeah.
Uh,
We just like renewals to move into the driver's seat, 120 to 90 days before the subscription ends. So that's what we want to take over and make sure so we can focus on closing
okay, awesome. So, Michelle, tell me about. Let's talk about smaller deals, right? And let's talk
up. Okay.
about the AE out there that's doing $100,000 deals and the sales renewals rep. More like in an organization, the renewal rep. How many AEs the person is supporting? What's the the industry average?
Oof, it all depends. Every company's different. Every
Mm-hmm.
company. We over the multiple companies I worked for, we mostly try to align to like a sales director. So it really depends on how many AEs report up to that sales director. Because we really want to we want the AEs to have like a one-to-one relationship. So only work with one renewal specialist or a renewal rep, whatever your company calls it. But the renewal reps themselves will work with multiple teams. It's like a one to
Mm-hmm.
many for us. So it all depends. Again, every company handles it different how they structure.
Yes.
So
For the AEs out there now, having a good account plan, share the account plan with the renewed teams, get their input early and
yes,
often.
yep,
Invite them to forecast. Invite them to QBRs,
yep,
weekly meetings.
yep. Let them know.
Make sure they have a
Yep,
seat on the table, and so they can help out, in the crucial
yeah.
moments.
So back to like the however many AEs in the renewals world, we don't really focus on the number of AEs. It's more like the number of
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. In a perfect world, a renewal
Mm-hmm.
rep will only handle about 200 opportunities per fiscal year. So that's
Oh
that's
wow.
the goal. So however that translates to the territories they're aligned with at the company they're at, it can totally depend. But that's where I found the sweet spot is. That's what they can handle. Because at any point we're working the current quarter, we're working like anything slipped from the previous quarter, and then of course we're
Mm-hmm.
like looking forward with the A's for the customers coming up.
Awesome. That's great. So, in the last few years, as we're getting down to the last questions here, tell me a difficult moment that you had in terms of your professional career, and how did you came out from the other side?
A difficult moment. Oh gosh. Okay. Do you want like a personal example of my career, or do you want to talk about like a customer deal?
Well, you can, we don't want to talk
I
about
can't give
the,
that's
the
I
the
can't
name
give you.
specifics, but
Yeah.
you can do, maybe a customer deal that you had a bad relationship with the rep and it turned out good, or a deal the customer. I mean, some kind of thing that you went south, and then it was a lesson for the future, or any story that you want to share.
Okay. I've over my career, because I can
Mhm.
speak in generals. I've had several customers that have been unhappy with their AE and how deal was going and how it was affecting the renewal. And because your renewal reps, at least in my career, my teams, we tend to stay in place a little bit longer. So they knew that they had a relationship with me. And so while I wasn't involved in deal, they came to me for help. And so because I want to maintain a good relationship, I got involved in the deal, and we kind of pushed the AE to the side. And I went in and worked with whatever leadership was in place at the time to close the deal. We got the renewal and we got the expansion.
Awesome.
So, because the customer, we want to keep the customer happy. So
You gotta do
it
what you
fits
gotta
me.
do, right, Michelle?
Yeah, exactly. You got to take care of business, even if it's not on my team. But if it's the customer asks, I'm going to do what
Yeah.
I need to do.
But
So,
but I like it. You work out with, you work with the leader. You had a
yep,
plan. You guys close. So
yep,
it's getting stuff
yeah,
done.
yeah. No,
That's
you do what
that's
you got to
that's
do.
why, Michelle, you're a champion, and I really
Yeah,
appreciate your time.
yeah. Thank you.